At daybreak on October 6, 1942, the SS President Coolidge secretly set sail from San Francisco Harbor, carrying more than 5,000 U.S. troops destined for the war in the South Pacific. Tragically, this was to be her last voyage. The SS President Coolidge is one of the world's most famous shipwrecks. With the use of narration and archive photos and film footage, this video explores the history of the SS President Coolidge, from her years as a luxury passenger liner to her untimely demise in the waters of Vanuatu, while serving as a troop transport ship for the U.S. military in the South Pacific. This, along with stunning present-day underwater footage, demonstrates why the SS President Coolidge is one of the most famous wreck dives in the world. The U.S. occupied Espiritu Santo on May 28, 1942. Within 2 months, the first airfield, known as Bomber 1, was operational and bombers were flying in and out of Espiritu Santo for action in Guadalcanal. Espiritu Santo would eventually become the largest port and military base in the South Pacific, with 4 airfields, 5 military hospitals, hundreds of Quonset huts, and thousands of military personnel. To protect this base and its harbor, with dozens of Allied ships, the U.S. laid mines at both the eastern and western entrances of the Sagan Channel. At 7:20 in the morning on October 26, 1942, after 3 weeks of travel, Captain Nelson and his crew saw Espiritu Santo coming into view. Within 10 minutes, the President Coolidge exchanged communication with the U.S. destroyer Sterett, confirming that the destroyer was on submarine patrol duty. When asked if the destroyer had any sailing orders for the President Coolidge, the reply came back negative. Based on his position, Captain Nelson had the choice of 3 deep-water passages for entry into Sagan Channel, and the decision was made to take the quickest and most direct route available, around the northern end of Tituba Island. Holding incomplete sailing orders, lacking any information about minefields, justifiably fearing attack from Japanese submarines, and with no pilot boat to meet them, the SS President Coolidge entered Sagan Channel at the east entrance, without any warning of the disaster that lay ahead. Moments later, a naval shore station began urgently flashing the approaching ship. In rapid Morse code flickered the word, "Stop." The orders to stop were immediately telegraphed in the engine room as the rest of the message was transcribed. "Stop, you are standing into mines." Scarcely had the warning been completed when a massive underwater explosion sent a shuddering lurch through the hull of the ship. The time was 9:35 a.m. The ship retained full momentum, and 30 seconds later, a second mine ripped a hole in the hull. Concerned about the lives of the men on board and fearing the loss of his ship, Captain Nelson turned the ship towards shore. 3 minutes later, the Coolidge was lodged on the reef and both anchors were let go. The call to abandon ship was issued. Captain Nelson had diligently practiced the abandoned ship drill with the men on board many times throughout their 3-week voyage. As such, the men remained calm and orderly throughout the embarkation of the ship. In the words of Stephen Parisi, a former Army captain and survivor of the Coolidge sinking.
Then I went below, and I started putting some of my clothes away. And then, in the meantime, the ship hit the mine, and so then I ran back up on deck, and I saw that we were close to the beach, because at first I didn't know if we were being shelled or not, but I took a chance and went up above, and I saw that we were close to land. And at the same time, while I was up on deck, the ship I heard the ship's captain say, hard right rudder, and the ship made a turn straight for shore. And then I saw the bow scrape the shore, and of course I thought the whole ship was on the bottom. So.
We're leaving Indonesia and flying all the way down to the South Pacific, to the islands of Vanuatu, to dive one of the most amazing shipwrecks on the planet. The President Coolidge started her life out as a luxury ocean liner, serving the elite of America. In the 20s, when there was still the roaring 20s, the President Coolidge, built in San Francisco, I think really encapsulated that time. It was this exquisite means of travel, fine craftsmanship in everything that you see within the ship itself. It was reserved for the rich. It had to service the rich. It was a dream machine for many people. All of a sudden, war breaks out and all the priorities change.
It was purchased by the US Navy and commandeered for use in the Second World War here in the South Pacific.
It's painted gunmetal gray, enormous cargo holds bored out of its hull, outfitted with 3-inch cannons. She sailed across the Pacific when she was coming into a major Allied base here in Vanuatu. There was a newly laid Allied minefield in order to protect the base against a Japanese submarine attack. This was all unbeknownst to the captain of the Coolidge. When he was entering the channel, ran straight into its own friendly minefield.
Yeah, it just would have been a heart-wrenching sight to watch it go down. All of these men clambering over the side of the ship and running onto the reef. A freak set of circumstances and a little bit of miscommunication, and this massive vessel was lost forever.
You could come down to this beach and, much like most of the stuff we've seen this year, if you had no idea, if no one told you, you just look out and see a horizon and water, and underneath it's like arguably the best shipwreck in the entire world to dive. It always seemed like a wreck that I'd never get to do. It was too deep, it was too far away. The training and experience that I've gained has been bringing me closer and closer to the Coolidge. The goal today is to get inside the wreck and explore it midship. A year ago, we would not have been able to do this wreck. This thing is basically the Titanic in 200 feet of water. It takes more planning, and it means that you have less time down on the shipwreck itself because of the depth. So we're actually bringing local expert, Rehan. He knows this ship like the back of his hand. That knowledge, it's absolutely crucial for a safe dive here.
Diving deep on a reef is a very, very different prospect to diving deep inside a wreck. A couple of wrong fin kicks can sign your life away.
Most of the bridge, most of the promenade deck has collapsed over here. The bridge has bent and some of the bridge has broken off as a result of an earthquake.
And so we've got to be careful. One mistake down there can kill you.
There it is. It's always an incredible moment when you get your first view of the ship. Well, the radio's got a sense of the colossal size of this ship. dropping down over 100 feet. Let's go in, eh? There's just carnage everywhere you look down here. It's like an 18-wheeler, just tossed on its side.
These machines were all on their way to fight in the Pacific Theater. They were shipped in pieces, waiting to be reassembled like a plastic model when they arrived.
There's a cannon down here. This is all within just one cargo hold of this gigantic ship. We're just entering cargo hold number 1 now. This almost looks like a big bomb, but it's actually a drop tank. You see it as a fuel cap here. The fighters could carry this extra fuel below the belly, and if they needed to engage in a dogfight, they could drop the drop tanks and lose that excess weight. Jeep collectors and Jeep aficionados, I can't imagine what they would think if they saw this collection in here. Come on down to Uncle Scott's car lot. This weekend only 50% off this little beauty right here. Look at that, still got her original headlights. All the 1942 models gotta go.
Seeing the cargo holds is literally scratching the surface of this ship. A lot of the most interesting and intriguing parts of this ship lie within.